Looking for a fast-charging, ultra-responsive stylus for your iPad? Meet the 2X Fast Charge Active Stylus Pen, designed for 2018 to 2025 Apple iPads. Take your creativity and productivity to the next level. Click the link in the video description to shop now on Amazon.
Reeves rules out tax rises, but confirms £2 billion in civil service cuts. To view this video, please enable JavaScript and consider upgrading to a web browser that supports HTML5. Video. Up next, the UK Chancellor has categorically ruled out raising taxes in next week's spring statement. Rachel Reeves has promised not to take more money from people's purses, while instead confirming sweeping cuts in civil service running costs. The government has announced large-scale welfare cuts and saving measures as Reeves has refused to budge from her fiscal rules, which also dismissing borrowing to fund day-to-day spending. This has piled pressure on the Chancellor, too, to balance the books amid disappointing growth figures and higher-than-expected borrowing. She told Sunday with Laura Kuenssberg, "The fiscal rules are non-negotiable. I am determined to bring back growth. That is the prize on offer, world-class public services without asking working people to pay more. I made a commitment during the election not to increase the key taxes that working pay people: their income tax, their national insurance, and their VAT. These are promises I stuck with during the budget last year. You cannot do everything overnight, and we do need to do more. There are always going to be costs for everything you make, but there are also costs for irresponsibility." Reeves was even more explicit in an interview with The Sun on Sunday, pledging, "This is not a budget. We're not going to be doing tax raising." Instead of tax rises, Reeves has promised extensive cuts to the running costs of government departments. She confirmed these would total 15% by the end of the Parliament in 2029, accounting to £2 billion worth of savings. The Cabinet Office will order departments to slash their administrative budgets by 10% by 2028-29 to save £1.5 billion a year. This will then rise to 15% the year after, which is expected to save £2.2 billion a year. The head of the FDA union said this equates to nearly 10% of the salary bill for the civil service. Reeves added this morning, "We are going to cut the back office functions and the bureaucracy. If we can realize those benefits, it means we can invest more in people working on the front lines, whether that is teacher in our schools or police on our streets." The Chancellor also defended accusations that the Labour government were bringing back austerity amid a backlash to welfare cuts announced this week. Experts estimate around 1 million people in England and Wales will lose their disability benefits as part of a welfare overhaul to save £5 billion a year by the end of the decade. Reeves said, "I have put £100 billion more into capital spending than the previous government. We put more than £20 billion into the National Health Service. That is a far cry from what we have seen from the Conservative governments in the last 14 years. On welfare, the system is in bad need of reform. 1 in 8 young people are not in employment, education, and training. I am not willing to write an entire generation of young people. For people who need support, we will continue to protect them. We have said there should be enhanced support for the most disabled. I want more people to have the support to get into work. I want to give people the dignity and pride that comes from work." The spring statement comes after the Bank of England reduced its forecasts for growth this year. Her calculations were also dealt a blow by figures showing that government borrowing had soared by £4.2 billion, past initially forecasts to £10.7 billion. Get in touch with our news team by emailing us at webnews@metro.co.uk. For more stories like this, check our news page. More asylum seekers could be sent to Balkan detention centers under new Labour plans. More, the government should be ashamed of the £5 billion disability cuts. They are barbaric. More, cutting my disability benefits won't magically make me able to work full-time. Stay on top of the headlines with daily email updates. This site is protected by Ray CAPTCHA and the Google privacy policy and terms of service apply. Your information will be used in line with our privacy policy.